Hi everybody, so I thought I'd talk through one of the new features on the Trackman, which is the new video software that they've got included in the TPS. So previously, when you used to hit a shot, what you would then see is just a recording of the swing. You then get the opportunity to then draw your own lines and analyze the swing yourself. The new feature, which I really like, you'll notice top left-hand side, there's that green button. You just click onto this, and then all of a sudden, there's dynamic and static parts that you can tick. So depending on what you're working on, okay, if I just click onto shoulder line first, throughout the actual swing, it will then show me my shoulder line throughout the whole swing. And it's quite a nice way of working on your move if you're, let's say, trying to rotate through a bit more level. You can get a good feel for what your shoulders are doing all the way through the ball. If we go back to the start, so we're going to add hip line in. Again, it's a really useful tool, especially for coaches looking at client swings. You can then get a bit of an idea of what's going on, how much rotation the hips are getting, what movement they're getting through impact, and how much they're opening up. So it's quite a useful tool. I should say as well, obviously we've got the video camera down the line. When you put it onto face on, it automatically will then know that, and then it will then allow you to pick parts that are relevant to a face on swing. If we click back off of hip line, we're going to now look at wrist path. I think this is really useful for anybody that struggles with a slice. So, here we can look at what the wrist movement does throughout the swing. And then you can then see what movement happens on the way down. So, for players that hit a slice, what you'll tend to see is that their direction on the way down will go more that kind of way. So, trying to keep it more in this direction with the wrist will then just help, getting a better club path. We're going to go back to the start, and we're going to look through the static position. So head movement, this is more just, the line or the circle will stay there the whole time. But this is quite a good, useful tool to see if we're moving up or moving off of the ball at all. And then you can get a bit of a feel for where you was at setup and then where you are at impact, what movement's happening throughout the ball. And then if you're coming out of your posture, this is quite a good one to notice. One of the other ones, we look at shoulder line. Again, you can see where you've started off at, and you can see where you've got into during the whole swing. You've got hip line. Again, it's these are all static, so they stay in the same position the whole time. You can see if you've lost height in the swing. You can see if you've gained height, and you can just see what your movement's doing through impact. It's quite useful depending on what you're working on. Shaft angle, I quite like this. So then it will get it at setup, and then throughout the swing, especially working on your takeaway, we can then see whether our hand path is keeping on, or our shaft angle is keeping on that line, or if we're getting too much on the inside or on the outside. So I think that's a really useful tool for takeaway. Shoulder angle, and we can just see straight away, where we are in relation to the ball. And then, when you're comparing it to other players, you get to see if they're, standing too close, standing too far away. It's quite useful. And then this one, for anybody that early extends, this is a really good tool. You can then see through impact, are the hips staying on that line, or are they coming off that line? So you can see mine have stayed on that line, but for a lot of players, they'll end up, their hip movement will move towards the ball through impact, which is a move that obviously we don't really want in the swing. You can see that there's the auto analyze option on the bottom of that as well. So I quite like, as I'm hitting shots, you can more or less leave everything on, and then you get a bit of a feel for what your swing's doing. It takes a second for it to analyze. and then you get an idea of what you're working on and what movement you're trying to get through the ball. I think wrist path is a really useful tool. I'll hit one down so you can kind of get a real time view of it. Takes a second for it to load on. And then it will automatically play. You can then look through the swing and look on what it is that you're trying to adjust. It's a nice useful tool. It's definitely worth using. If you ever want to come off of that, you can just turn off the auto analyze and then click onto the green button, deselect everything, and then it won't then analyze everything automatically. It will just allow you to see your swing without any lines. So I think it's a really good tool that Trackman have created, and it's definitely worth experimenting with in your practice sessions.